Hi, this is Debi of the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. Welcome to episode number 50, where we're going to speak about the 7 common misperceptions about personal development that everyone gets wrong and how to have a deep, lasting transformation and not get caught in these traps. So I have a special guest. Her name is Teresa Anne, and she is going to co-host with me today. She's our lead coach in our Evolve Leadership program, and we're going to have a conversation with just the ladies about changing our lives. So stay tuned. This is the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. You are in the right place if you are tired of the basic self-help and you're ready for a higher level of teaching in neuroscience, Jungian psychology, and Eastern wisdom. We offer world-class personal development and coach training for evolving women entrepreneurs to help you go to the next level of growth in success, relationships, and living your purpose. So let's get started. Welcome to the Debi and Dr. Rob Show. And instead of Dr. Rob today, it's Debi and Teresa Show. Teresa Anne is our lead coach in our leadership program, and we are going to have a great conversation about the 7 misconceptions about personal growth. And those of you who are leaders, aspiring leaders, wanting to change careers, wanting to start or grow a business and live your purpose, our Evolve Leadership program is the place for you to become a leader in your mind so that you can create wonderful changes in your life in the external world. And we have a lot of options for you to travel with us around the world. We have events all over the world, and we have live online classes and calls that you can participate in, as well as it includes some coaching. So Teresa is the coach in that program, and we want to welcome her. Hello, Teresa.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to speak with you today, and I'm ready to go.
Yes, we decided that this would be a really good topic about the misconceptions of personal development, and we feel like a lot of self-help has just gotten a little out of control and a lot of misconceptions, a lot of ideas that people go to personal growth for and not sure if they're doing it right, and getting a lot of mixed messages. So we're here to clear that up. And really, I mean, it's not that anything's right or wrong, but we feel like these misconceptions, these 7 specific areas, if you follow them, you're going to get better results, in our opinion.
Exactly. And we're so excited to share these 7 misconceptions with you today.
So number 1 is this misconception that personal development is only to work on the big things in life. Whether you want to have love, or I got to do personal development so I can find my man, or woman. I got to do personal development to make more money. I got to do personal development just to find my purpose. But we know that those things don't really truly make us happy unless we get to basically the happiness of everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's those day-to-day, moment-to-moment action steps that we take. It's not just for the big things. It's for the small things. It's for the things every day in life that we are sometimes coming up against, and not just the big things, like Debi stated, money and love and relationships and, creating this big empire.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times you see people, they focus so much on the end goal that they don't enjoy the process of understanding themselves. And like dating, for example, if you can't handle not getting a text from someone, come on, you got to work with that. It's not just the end goal. Like, okay, when the guy gives you the ring, everything's great. It's those little moments of insecurities and stress and anxiety that we need to work with.
Absolutely.
Because those things aren't going to make you happy if you don't have the little things in place.
100%. It's really reacting to those moments, as Debi stated. It's, how you're reacting to the text messages and the conversations when you're dating, or the decisions that you make in your business. It's not just the big life decisions.
Yeah, I know when I was doing just being around the coaching industry for over a decade or more, seeing people really focus on marketing and focus on getting financial goals met, but no one was really talking about, well, how do you handle when a client is difficult or people are saying no to you on sales calls? Like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with a bad interview? All those little things are so important to the overall growth. And I think if you have the tools, for the little things, you're going to get the big things.
Absolutely. It all really adds up and it snowballs with those everyday decisions, everyday moments. And so it's really being able to, detach from those and move forward with the bigger life decisions and life moments.
So number 2 is... And you're the one who brought this up to me.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So the fact that transformation is not a one-hit wonder.
A one-hit wonder.
It's not a one and done.
Yeah, one and done.
Exactly. So it's transformation is it's not linear, and I know a lot of clients do have that misperception that it is linear, and that once that they handle this specific situation or this circumstance, then boom, they're done. There's the transformation.
Well, like we say, it's a process, it's a process of becoming, and there are pivotal moments where we have those big breakthroughs and everything kind of shifts, but it doesn't mean that the rest of your life, everything's going to be perfect and the world is, going to fall at your feet. It's a process of really becoming. I always think of it as, your mind is like a beautiful instrument that no one taught us how to play. So you can always master that instrument more and more. And really what we're working with is our mind in life.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And, again, a lot of clients, really believe that once they get past this situation, and then that's it. And it's really more about a commitment to yourself and just a commitment, because it's not, it's kind of like, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. I'm going to go on a crash diet and not get triggered for a week. Exactly. And so an example would be like, you have this thing that keeps coming up for you. There's something that keeps coming up, say boundaries.
Yes.
And you aren't setting your boundaries. People are, stepping over them. And I said, when people step over your boundaries, that means you don't have any.
Exactly.
Because they wouldn't if you had boundaries.
If you had boundaries, if they were there in the first place.
And so you think, okay, well, I'm going to set my boundaries. I'm going to be more confident. And they have a really great result.
Exactly.
But then they think it's done. That's it.
Done. That's
I'll never have to deal with this again. And you're right. It is a process. And because the ego mind, it really doesn't have, it doesn't really change. It's kind of, it's like built in with us that we have the rest of our life. And this misconception that you can make it change, that ego mind can change permanently.
Exactly.
It's always going to be there.
Yes. It's the idea that it's overnight and permanent. I see that misconception all the time with clients.
And then the thing is that you can change. It's
yes, you can.
But a lot of personal development is about let me make my ego better. Let me think more positive.
Right. Exactly. It's the positive thinking. If I could just think positive, or it's really that attachment to the whole positive thinking versus looking at, as you state, neutral. It's not bad or wrong. It's not right or wrong.
Like judging your mind.
Not judging your mind. Exactly.
Yeah, and for thinking that way, and feeling that I'm so negative today, and what I find too is that the closer you are to a transformation, that the mind gets so crazy noisy. It's like,
exactly.
And you feel like you're going backwards. And that's really, I just want everyone to know that it's normal and that you're not doing anything wrong. And I think people get discouraged in those times and they think, I listened to this visualization or I practiced my vision board and I'm still negative and this isn't working. Understanding how your mind works.
Exactly. Because it is working. It's just, again, going back to, it's not a linear process, and not judging yourself through the process and through the transformation.
And speaking of not judging yourself, number 3 is our favorite, you are not broken.
Yes. I hear that a lot.
What's wrong with me?
What's wrong with me? Why haven't I got this already? There must be something wrong. Going back into my childhood.
What do I need to fix?
What I need to fix. Yes.
It must be, it's my mother's fault.
Yeah,
my
mother's
father.
fault, my dad's fault, my brother.
An incident that happened to me when I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
And,
Exactly.
And here's the thing. A lot of personal development came out of the therapy. Therapists started it. They thought, well, this is really great information. They wrote a lot of books back in the 70s and 80s and even the 60s. I think they had started to kind of go there. And so they started to pathologize everybody. Like not everyone needs therapy. And therapy is great if you have an issue. It's not a bad thing, but not everyone needs it. And I think what happened was that everyone's just like everyone's over medicating themselves. Yes. We're over therapizing ourselves.
Exactly.
And we're seeing that if something's wrong in our life, that we don't have the things that we want, that there must be some kind of wound or block or terrible, negative energy in us that we have to clear.
Yes. Yeah. The clearing, the tapping,
and the healing.
The healing, thinking there's something major that you have to overcome. Like you said, the blocks, and really all of that is just, judgment. Again, going back to that judgment, and something's wrong with me. Something needs to be fixed.
And how can you possibly ever and there's of course coaches that teach, let me heal your wounds. Yes. Let me look at your childhood. Let me hold your inner child.
Yes.
And I did all that when I was a hypnotherapist till my eyes were bloodshot.
Exactly. Right.
It was and I did it on myself, and I just was like, oh my God, my inner child, if I have to deal with her ever another weekend of seminars of dealing with my inner child, I think I'm going to cry. And I think a lot of our clients, early on when I worked a lot more with love, they all talked about how they just want to cry. They just don't want to do another program. They just don't want to do another course. They just don't want to keep digging into their past. And it's just,
absolutely.
And when you're digging into your past, you're not looking forward.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you're thinking, I got to fix my brokenness and then I could find love. When if you just realize that nothing is wrong with you.
Right.
It's like a faster track.
Exactly. Yeah. It's hard to move forward when you're always looking in the rearview mirror, and you're trying to fix the past, but it's really about being in the present and staying present in the moment instead of trying to fix things or judge things in the past. And,
a lot of people ask, well, how can I not be broken? I had these terrible things happen to me when I was a kid, or my mother criticized me or abused me. My father abused me, or, all this heavy stuff.
Right.
The pure essence of you has never been harmed, the true self. And the ego, actually, what it does is creates a protective mechanism to help you cope with that environment.
Exactly.
So in a way, what happened to defend love or to defend money or to create your patterns was a sign of a healthy mind. Not a mind of brokenness. It's actually a very healthy mind creates the defenses.
Absolutely.
So what we're really working with in breaking our patterns is not the wound.
It's not the wound, yes.
We're working on getting out of that defense that we set up that kept us safe back then. So the ego is all about protection, about safety.
Yes.
That's why we don't want to get rid of it.
Absolutely.
But when around midlife in our 30s, we don't need all that extra protection anymore. It's time for us to open up and let go. And a lot of people, I'm sure they experience in their 20s, their relationships are much different than they're in their 30s. You feel a little different. And
100%.
We're actually built to move away from the ego and not stay stuck in those patterns.
Absolutely.
So this is a healthy, natural process that we take people
Most
through.
Definitely.
And
Most
you can't go anywhere if you're starting off with Unbroken.
Absolutely. It's hard to, it's like the quicksand, the mud.
Yes.
It's the stuck. If you feel like you're broken, where's there to go?
And it's like if you don't feel like you're enough now, you'll never feel like you're enough.
Absolutely.
So everyone, you're all enough. You're all perfect. You may not have everything you want. It has nothing to do with your value. You are valuable. The fourth one is resistance is normal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Resistance is normal.
A lot of people think that I'm doing something wrong because I'm starting to think really negatively. These things showed up that, weren't what I wanted. The opposite showing up for me. I intend to find great love, but you know what? I got a million jerks all of a sudden. What is going on? I'm doing it wrong. The visualizations aren't working.
Right. Yeah. So resistance could look like, you may be getting a cold and you are on your way to some type of, seminar, or your car breaks down, or you find yourself making a lot of excuses. And again, going back to that negative thinking, that's really all a part of it. And it's resistance showing up. But that means that sometimes you're really right there in the process of transformation where nothing has gone wrong. It's just very common and it's very normal and it's part of the process.
And what most people do, instead of when I was, first exposed to personal development in my early years, before I met Carl Jung, I was always trying to clear the blocks of resistance and move through them, like push them away.
Push them away.
I was resisting the resistance.
Absolutely.
And what we teach is you actually go toward the resistance. You open it up. You're like, ooh, what's here? Why is this opposite showing up? Let me open it up. Let me be curious about it. Because as you bring it towards you, the defenses drop around it.
Absolutely.
And actually you free it. It's so counterintuitive because you think, I got to run away from it. I got to run away.
Exactly. Yeah. It's you move towards it. You're bringing it closer to you and you're not running or defending the resistance, and you're making it okay.
Yes. So resistance is good and a sign that you're on the right track.
You're on the right track.
I bet people are going to be listening to this over and over and over again, having their little checklist.
Taking notes,
writing
it down.
Number 5, insight is not transformation. How many times has a client told you, oh my God, I had the greatest insight, and then a week later, how come nothing's changed?
Yeah, if I had a dime for every a nickel.
Every insight that you got.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, that's a really popular one that I hear from many clients is they have this great insight and they're thinking, okay, well, I'm not seeing the external change, even though they have the insight. And it's really the external shifts that they're looking for, even though they're having the insight, but they really haven't made that internal shift.
And when we say internal, we really need being emotion.
Emotion.
And
exactly.
Carl Jung says there is no transformation without emotion.
Absolutely.
And so we, in this modern world, are conditioned to think logically and analyze. And, some of the big, like one of, I don't want to mention names, but there was a very big teacher that talks about asking yourself questions and saying, is this okay? And you're kind of processing analytically.
Yes.
And it's great. It's a good start.
Right.
It's kind of like thinking positive.
Right.
But those questions aren't going to free you. Answers to those questions, because you're just coming up with a better story.
Better story. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And another big popular thing in coaching is to reframe.
Oh, right.
So
That's very popular too.
Ooh, okay, this person didn't call. Well, I guess they just weren't the one. I'm going to move on, and everything happens for a reason. And you reframe it instead of getting angry. But what happens is you push the emotion away.
Absolutely.
And where does that emotion go?
It's still there.
Yeah.
It gets suppressed. It's still there.
It's in the shadow.
It's in the shadow. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, you hear that quite often. It's reframing the story, changing the story, or giving it a different meaning. And it's all really an avoidance tactic.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. It's all about avoidance.
And not really transforming.
Transforming.
That's why it's so easy, and I think a lot of people like it because, ooh, that's easy. I'll just change the story and I'll make it better. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard everything happens for a reason. I just feel like...
that's another one.
It's like chalkboard.
Chalkboard to our ears.
Yeah. The scraping of the nails.
Scraping of the nails, yeah.
It's so... it really... Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. It happens because... everything your mind does is make up reasons and meanings. So, of course,
that's what the mind does. Yeah.
You can come up with a reason. That's great. And what we tend to do is reason ourselves away, justify, defend,
avoid. Yes, we do all of those things to, run away or push away what's coming up, the triggers that are coming up, instead of looking at them and moving towards them.
And it's so, like I said before, like our work sometimes can be counterintuitive because our tendency is to move away from pain,
Yes.
to move away from discomfort, to move away from negative thinking.
Absolutely.
And the ego is designed that way to keep us in that pattern of making everything nice.
Yes, making it pretty,
Making it
putting
nice.
a bow on it.
The path of least resistance is the power of the ego, is wants least resistance. And there's a big book about that.
Yes.
The path of least resistance. And there's this kind of spiritual bypassing that people do is like, oh, I'm in the flow. And so I'm going to flow and have no problems. And here's one.
Yes.
When resistance shows up, it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
That's another one.
Yeah. It's just the timing. It's just bad timing.
Yeah.
Or just, exactly. It wasn't supposed to happen for me.
Or the universe is telling me
universe
it's not
is
what I need.
telling me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a message from the universe.
What is the universe telling me?
Yeah, exactly.
And of course we're having fun with this, but
Yes.
I believed all this stuff too,
Me too.
and
Yes.
and it kept me really stuck for so long. And so what we want to do is go into what is that shift we need to do emotionally, and how does that work? And basically we have to face those uncomfortable emotions because it counters the ego's conditioning to keep you in your comfort zone.
Yes.
So if your ego is conditioned to move you away from discomfort,
Yes.
and you move away from discomfort with your thoughts and your thinking and your analysis, then you're staying in conditioning. You're not changing anything.
Exactly.
But if you go against the flow
Right.
of the normal flow, which
Right.
feels very uncomfortable, it doesn't feel
Absolutely.
natural. You
Yes.
want to kick and scream. I don't want to feel this feeling. And you stay with it. And you feel that emotion and really drop the story. That's our process.
Drop the story.
That's where you start to break the pattern.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's as Debi stated, it's counterintuitive to drop into the emotion because we've been so conditioned to try to make ourselves feel better. And but when we do that, we don't give ourselves the gift of really changing the emotional shift or making the emotional shift and that internal shift that we're looking for.
And so remember that just when you talk yourself out of something, you're talking yourself back into your conditioning. And the whole idea of our work is really to transcend the conditioning. Where we have the conditioning is good for us. It kept us alive. It's going to help us survive.
Right.
But it will only give us limited results in our life if we follow that vein.
Yes.
So we have to go against the grain, as they say.
The grain.
So number 6, we're almost there. Your results in your life externally are a direct reflection of your mind. And how many times have you said, like we talked about, everything happens for a reason.
It happens for a reason.
There's toxic people out there, my boss or my coworkers.
Wife, husband, mom, dad, sister. It's all out there.
Or dates that you go on.
Dates that you go on.
Clients that you have.
That you see. Exactly. And it's really the reflection of your mind. It's the people that are showing up based on the reflection. They're reflecting your mind and no one else's.
And so it doesn't mean that the toxic person, that you're toxic.
Yes.
But when you label someone as toxic, I mean, you ask anyone on the street, what is a toxic person? Everyone will have a different answer.
That's true.
Some people really hate pushy people.
Yes.
Other people really hate
critical or
critical
judgmental people.
Or people that are really certain of what they want and rigid, and they're not flexible.
They're not flexible, inflexible. Absolutely.
Or they don't laugh a lot. They're very serious, or they're too silly.
Or they're too silly, aloof or goofy, or I mean, it's just really a whole gamut of, of what toxic is,
or unpleasant, or
cold.
And we end up feeling like we have to protect ourselves from these external people. And then wherever we go, we keep meeting the same people over and over. Like everywhere I work. I know everywhere I worked, my bosses never appreciated me, Teresa, never.
Yes.
They were all like, I did a terrible job, and actually I got all great reviews, but in my mind it was like, no one, my bosses are so mean.
Yes.
And it was that I hated authority.
Wow.
So wherever I went, they were like reflecting that fear.
Reflecting that fear. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. And you'll see that in dating. People will reflect your mind on dates. If you have that mindset that, women or men are not dependable, then you might have people show up late or, or things like that.
Or flake out.
Or like forget or
cheaters. So why do I keep attracting people that cheat on me?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
And so this is really going deeper into our work. This is what the shadow is. What Jung called the shadow, and it's the part of us that we can't see. And again, it's not a one-to-one. It doesn't mean you are like that. But it means that there's something unconscious that is reflective in that person. And if you think about your dreams, we all hear, it's very common for people to know that you're everyone in that dream, every character in the dream.
Every character in that dream, yes.
The dreaming life is actually more real than the waking life. Mm-hmm. So if your dream life, that's the way your consciousness works. That means your real life, everyone around you is reflecting a part of you.
Absolutely.
That you can't see. And especially the people you can't stand the most are reflecting an aspect of you that you can't stand about yourself. But other people may recognize that in you and you wouldn't even know it because you'd be like, I'm not like that.
I'm not like that.
I'm not bossy.
I'm not that way. Yeah, because you judge it. And so you can actually see that within yourself because you're pushing it away so much.
I have a perfect example. When I was... I always thought I was this easygoing, nice person that just went with the flow and never
flexible,
very flexible, and always so giving and cares about everybody. And one time I was saying that to one of my friends, and she's like, "Debi, do you know that every time we all decide to go to dinner, it all has to revolve around where Debi needs to go because you hate I never liked any kind of exotic foods. Now I do. But before I was like, I can't do Indian. I can't do Thai. I have to go to like an American place with, steaks and burgers or Italian. That's it.
Italian.
And so they were like, that we all like you were the one that's the most rigid, the most bossy. And I was like, you are not easygoing. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yes,
and you don't see it. But then I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I can. So we can be that way. And
absolutely.
Then what I would do is I would end up seeing people that wanted things their way, and I would be so mad.
So triggered and so upset. Yes.
And it's because I was that way too. I was inflexible.
Absolutely.
If I was truly flexible and someone was bossing me around, it would be normal. I would feel like, okay, let them take charge. And there's people like that. They don't like to take charge.
Yes, there are. Absolutely. That's such a great point. Of not, seeing that in yourself, but actually recognizing that you did get triggered when you did see that aspect or trait in other people. Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I love about the shadow work is that you really cannot see it directly.
Yes.
There's a great myth called about Medusa. And I remember when I first met Rob, and I was one of my clients, she was so mad at me. And I was thinking, what did I do wrong? And I couldn't, she was so angry. And I was like, what did I do wrong? And I was so sweet to her and kind, and she just got really upset. And I was so upset about it. I mean, it was like the first time anyone was mad at me. Right. I was like, I'm so good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. And so I came home, and Rob was teaching me about the shadow, and he showed me a diagram of the consciousness. And then he told me this myth of Medusa. And he said, Medusa, if you look at her right directly, you would turn to stone. And that's exactly what the shadow, we can't see those parts of ourselves. We would freeze. It would just be so repulsive to think of ourselves, these kind of like in our mind, our psyche thinks those are really bad.
Those are really bad, because we're making it wrong.
Yeah, we're
inappropriate.
Yeah, or that people won't like me.
People won't like me, and, I won't belong if I'm this trait or this way.
And so you know how Medusa was slayed.
Yes.
Perseus took a shield, and he saw her reflection in the shield, and he was able to cut off her head. Mm-hmm. And the shield is, if you think about reflection, that's what the mind does. It reflects these shadow parts of us onto other people.
Yes.
And then we are able to see them.
So
the next annoying, irritable, driving you crazy person is actually your best friend.
Your best friend. Just to let you know, guys, it's your best friend.
Because they're the key to freedom. Because
Absolutely.
really, truly, if you don't face your shadow, you're going to be limited. And I think that's one of the big problems with a lot of, I did personal development for decades, and I got a little better, more confident and more aware, but I felt like I didn't have that big breakthrough until I worked with my shadow.
Absolutely.
And when I did, everything just opened up for me. I had more energy. I had more clarity. It was more freedom.
More freedom.
And more self-love, actually.
More self-love, absolutely. And you have more freedom of choices because you're not always reacting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the freedom of choice because you're making the unconscious conscious, so you're not making decisions unconsciously.
And you're getting your power back.
You're getting your power back.
Instead of pushing it out there and giving that toxic person all the power,
right?
You're saying, no, you're my best friend, and I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to retrieve my power, and I'm going to thank you very much because this is leading to my transformation.
Absolutely.
Okay, it might take a couple times to get there, but it is really powerful. And so remember that what you're seeing externally is reflective of your mind, not a direct reflection, but it's showing you something about yourself so that you can it's like you're breaking out like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix.
Yes.
Waking up from the sleep and really seeing the truth.
The truth of it.
Seeing the code.
Seeing the code. You got the code.
Yes. And then the last, number 7, which I think is the most important, I did a lot of self-help, personal development since I was in my early 20s.
Yes.
And again, I said things were trudging along. It wasn't until I had my first coach that everything happened rapidly. Like within that first year, I found my ideal business. I left my corporate job. I hired another coach to help me with my business. And I've had a coach every year since I've been in business. And because there's certain things, like we say, that you can't see yourself. You can't look at directly. You need that shield to reflect back those other people. And it's so easy to get caught up in, it's out there and I don't have any power. And what a coach does is remind you of your power. It kind of resets your mind.
Absolutely.
I always think of it as like a chiropractor for your mind.
Yes.
It's like you're thinking a little crooked and it's like you get realigned again. And,
Absolutely.
And having a personal coach is, of course, the ultimate. But even having in a group coaching program like we have in Evolve.
Yes, most definitely.
It gets you out of your own head and gets you to see something more clear and gets you there faster.
Absolutely, yes. Just in your last statement, getting out of your head, it's a lot of people tend to overanalyze. Mm-hmm. And so really a coach can bring you back into the moment and really help you see the blind spots. And, I always say that every single person that's successful has had a mentor. Mm-hmm. Benjamin Graham was Warren Buffett's mentor, and mm-hmm. Maya Angelou was Oprah's mentor, and Steve Jobs was Mark Zuckerberg's mentor.
So can you imagine?
So what if they didn't have these mentors? So really having that coaching and a mentor can really, push you forward. It can really help with the transformation that you're looking for. And
I think the problem with a lot of people is first of all, they think of it as therapy.
Yes.
And they think, so if you look at Mark Zuckerberg, do you think he needs therapy? No, a mentor, a coach.
Yes, a coach.
Helped him. I just was at last year, actually. God, I can't believe it's a year already, at the Inc. 500 Inc. Women's Summit,
yes.
Inc. magazine. And Sarah Blakely, billionaire Spanx lady.
Billionaire Spanx, yes.
She said that her success was directly related to having 2 life coaches she had.
There you go.
And she said, Absolutely. I had my coaches and they got me through the resistance when people did not see her idea, when she had to face a boardroom of men and investors that didn't wear pantyhose or
Absolutely.
Understand a woman.
Understand Spanx and women in general.
Now they have man Spanx. So
man Spanx,
I think, but the girl who designed Paige Jeans.
Oh, yes.
She talks about her life coach.
Her mentor, coach.
Yeah.
Life coach.
So it's really, if you want to do great things, an Olympian would hire a coach to help them go to the Olympics.
100%.
If you want to master your life, you have to invest in coaching. And they're all like different levels. And of course, we highly recommend our program. But it truly is the most important investment you can make in your business and your life.
Yes.
I don't know what I would be without the coaches.
Absolutely. Same here. It's really about investing in yourself. That's really the most important action that you can really take. I mean, is investing in yourself.
And I remember when I first started, I did my hypnotherapy practice for a while, then I shifted to coaching. And I decided that I knew everything already. Mm-hmm. I knew it all. I did my coaching for a couple of years. Yes. I was cocky. No one could tell me what to do. I knew everything. And the business started to slow down really bad, to the point where I almost felt like I had to get a job, because I was like, where are my clients?
Right.
What happened?
What happened?
Why did everything stop?
Yes.
And a colleague of mine, a friend of mine that we did a radio show together, she sent me an email that said, hey, I'm looking for 10 people to be in this new coaching program. And I was like, okay, I got to sign up for this. I filled out the application, and then she accepted me. I was like, yay. Yes. And I remember thinking I had barely enough money in my checking account. And it was like the price of it was so cheap now I think about it. But at the time, it felt like
a lot of money.
My life savings had gone away.
Absolutely.
And within a month or two, I was back up to 6 figures for a small investment. And it was just because she got me thinking in the right way again. I was getting lost in my head.
Yes.
And then you know what the other mistake I did? What I see
that?
A lot of coaches do?
Yes. What is that?
Coach each other. Poor coaches that don't make any money, coaching each other, giving free coaching to each other.
That is
it's like popular. The blind leading the blind.
The blind leading the blind.
And so I was doing that. I was trading coaching with everyone else who wasn't making any money. And so how are you going to learn anything but from people that are struggling themselves?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That's true. And I do see that a lot where, and not even just in the coaching or in this, industry, but just in general, people.
My best friend are giving me dating
advice, when they're single and lonely and depressed. And it's just, like you said, the blind leading the blind, them not really having the answers or the success that they want, but yet they're there to coach you.
And here's the real power of coaching that I don't think anyone realizes.
Yes.
Is that when you hire a coach that has higher knowledge than you, because there's always someone that knows a little more than you, not knowledge-wise as far as like technique or even marketing, which that's another story. Those aren't really coaches. Those are business strategists. They're not really coaching you. But someone who understands the process of the philosophy of higher thinking, of who has created success in their life, they bring unconsciously, they're downloading their knowledge to you when you're around them. So you're not even, besides just coaching with them and talking to them and it feels good.
Absolutely.
You're actually resonating with them and you're getting, it's almost like, it's not that they're giving you the knowledge because you already have it in you.
Yes.
It's like they activate it.
Oh, 100%.
Within you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can be directly coached by someone and also indirectly coached by someone just by being around them.
Yes. And you're watching what they do. You're also, there's a, very powerful, even in therapy, they say the client therapist relationship. There's an exchange of power there because of that the authority. Right. And so when you have someone that's successful and that understands something that you don't understand yet, but you have the knowledge within you, it bubbles up from inside of you. It almost ignites your wisdom.
Right.
So it's not that they're downloading wisdom like in a software kind of way, but more of they're helping you remember
it. Yes, absolutely. It's remembering really what's already there. And it's kind of that because of the conditioned mind, it's really, igniting, as you said, what they already know. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it could be just a little quick something, the shift.
Yes.
A great story was my nephew. He was playing Little League. This was years ago. He's in college. He graduated college already. He's an adult man now. And he's single, ladies? No, I don't know. He might not. He was playing Little League and he was so frustrated because he couldn't hit the ball like over the baselines, over the second baseman's head. Yes. And my brother had been working a lot, so he couldn't come to his practices. And so he came to one of his practices and he noticed that he was just holding his hand like a half an inch wrong. And so he came over and he just adjusted his hand, his wrist and his grip on that bat.
Right.
And as soon as he did that, boom, he was hitting it home runs.
Yes.
And it was just that small little adjustment from someone who can see from the outside something that he couldn't see himself.
Absolutely.
And so imagine in your life, you have a blind spot. You
Yes.
can't see your own stuff. And if
Exactly.
and if someone else is blind with you, it's like you're both searching in the dark. Like if you're working with a friend who's still single,
Absolutely.
or a friend who's married who settled for their
but knows it
mediocre
all. Yeah,
relationship,
exactly.
just so she can have her wedding at 25.
Right.
And she's giving you advice because she found a man.
Yes.
You're not really getting that higher knowledge.
Absolutely.
You're getting, do it like I did and act this way and
do it
wear the
this
low-cut
way.
shirt and use this photographer for your online profile.
Yes.
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 And it really is the most important thing you can do for yourself. And if you think about your life, happiness is so important. And coaching isn't just about getting things. It's not just about, I'm going to find a man, I'm going to make money, I'm going to find my purpose. It's about really knowing who you are and having your power back. And there's something with that peace of mind that is so priceless.
I heard a quote, and it was, getting what you want will never make you happy, but who you become will either make you very happy or very sad.
Well, let's say who you become can make you very happy. But, and then also too, like a lot of people say, well, I can't afford coaching.
Yes, that's another one.
It's
yes.
I can't afford it. You can't afford not to.
Yes.
And I tell you, I started out when I had nothing I spent $197. And that $197, led me to the multi-million dollars that our company has today.
Absolutely.
But it starts with that. So if you can't get a coach right now, invest in a course, invest in something.
Invest in yourself.
But the key is you have to pay for it.
Yes.
If you do it for free and do all the free stuff, they can help you to a certain extent. But until you have that one-on-one, and a lot of our courses that we do, well, all of our courses that we do, they get a session with you.
Absolutely.
That's part of it because we know how important it is for them to have a one-on-one conversation.
Absolutely.
And so,
Absolutely.
so that is one of the things you can do as well.
Yes, it will be the most important and best decision to invest in yourself and really have, someone to, it's not just about accountability, but someone also that's, cheering for you as well as helping you see your blind spots and seeing things that you're not aware of. That support is extremely powerful.
And so we really want to inspire you to follow the 7. Let's review them.
Yes, exactly.
One is the misconception is that personal development and growth is not just about getting big things.
Yes.
It's also it's the everyday life.
Yes.
Number 2 is it's not a one-hit wonder. It's not a linear process. It's a process. Number 3 is you're not broken. You already have all the wisdom within you. You just need someone to remind you of your power and your brilliance. Number 4 is resistance is normal. So when it shows up, that means you're on the right track. Number 5 is insight is not transformation, that you really need emotion to make a shift in your life. You need to engage the emotion. Number 6 is that nothing external is separate from your mind. Everything is a reflection of your mind. So when you see something out there that's not working for you or a conflict, that means there's a conflict within you. So you have a conscious desire for something and the opposite is showing up. That means inside you have a conflict with that desire showing up. A part of you wants it and a part of you doesn't. And if you're not aware of the part of you that doesn't, it's unconscious and you need to find out what that is. It's not a block. It's actually a part of our conditioning. And then the last one is you need a coach. You need someone to help you guide your way out of the darkness to if you think of every great hero's journey, heroine's journey, they all had this mentor. The Lord of the Rings, he had that Gandalf guy.
Absolutely.
We had Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz, yes.
The Glenda the Good Witch was guiding the way.
Exactly. Absolutely.
There's always that wiser person to help you.
Help you along your path, your
Rocky
journey.
had his coach, to cheer him on.
Exactly. That's a great example.
Karate Kid.
The Karate Kid. Love that movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
And it's a part of the process of being human. In the old days, back in the beginning of human existence and when we lived in tribes, there was always the shaman or the leader, and there was always someone that guided everyone. And they would go to the shaman and they say, should we, set up here or should we set up there? And there was that wise person that people followed. It's a tradition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so if you're going to live an extraordinary life, that's really the key. I'm so glad I found coaching because I never did therapy growing up, and I never thought I needed therapy. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that felt like, oh, I don't want to, like that's like kind of a stigma around therapy.
Right.
And I think that coaching gives people an opportunity to work with their mind without feeling like there's something
wrong with you or something needs to be fixed.
And that's why coaching was created in the first place. And if you're going to work with a coach, make sure they're not doing any healing on you.
Absolutely.
or you're getting therapy.
Yeah.
And really step into your power and know that you already have the answers within you. But if you can't see them, you need someone to help you be that reflection. Just
Absolutely.
Like the Medusa and the shield, the coach is a reflection of your own wisdom. So look who you are drawn to as a mentor. Look who you feel like a connection with. Teresa and I may not be the right person, but hopefully we are.
Hopefully we are.
But if you connect with them and you feel like an affinity with them,
yes,
you're seeing a part of yourself.
Absolutely.
You're part of your potential. And,
right.
And that's what that really does. It really helps bring that out in you and helps you live a really great life.
I love that.
So we invite you to take these 7 and apply them in your life. And we do want to invite you to explore more with us. And Teresa offers a free consult if you're interested. She takes you through actually a little mini session. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
So what we do is it's a 30-minute complimentary shadow uncovering session.
Ooh.
Yes. Where we go through triggers, blind spots. It's really all about making the unconscious conscious. It's what you currently aren't seeing that you will now be able to see.
And so for someone who's maybe stuck in finding love, and if you feel like you're having the same situation show up in your life, the same relationships show up, the same kind of bosses or kind of the roadblocks that are showing up in your life, and you're just wondering, why does this keep happening to me? If you're stuck at an income level and you're like, how come I can't get my business off the ground? How come I'm not getting clients? How come I not, getting that promotion that I want?
Exactly.
What is stopping me? And you will definitely get an answer in this session.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely free to do this.
It's free. It's completely free.
And there's no obligation to buy anything.
Yes.
But if there's something, if you're intrigued by it and want to do more, Teresa's really good at helping you find the right next step for you.
Absolutely. There are options. And if it's something that you do want to move forward with, we can definitely talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's complimentary, and it's just to really give you the answers as far as what's stopping you.
And help you get a taste of what this wonderful work can do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like a little sample.
It's a sample. Yeah.
And we could talk about how powerful it is till we're blue in the face,
Yes.
but until you experience it, you really can't grasp it. So that's why we offer this. So we want to get people to have a different type of coaching that they ever had before.
Exactly.
I remember I was telling my mastermind, I'm in a mastermind of my coach, and I was telling them about this process, and they were like, wow, you go deep on the very first call. That's a consult.
We do.
Oh my God, aren't people scared? I'm like, no, they love it.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they learn so much just about themselves, and it's very intriguing and interesting, and they really enjoy it.
Yes. So it's not therapy. She's not going to tell me about your childhood.
No.
Tell me about all these terrible things that happen. It's more very uplifting. You're going to leave, if anything, feeling more clear on what's stopping you and how to move forward. And that's really what we want to help people with.
Yes. You're going to have the clarity, and you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in this free session, all you need to do is go to freeshadowsession.com. Say that 10 times fast. Shadow session. Free shadow session, all one word, .com. And fill out the form, and you'll get a little link to schedule a call with Teresa, and she will take great care of you.
I will. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. And again, there's no obligation. We want to just get this information out to as many people as we can. We want to get people really excited about changing their life in a different way.
Absolutely.
We're on a mission to really raise the bar in the coaching industry.
Exactly.
To provide more advanced, high-level coaching that really gives you real results versus just thinking positive and pushing aside, bypassing the difficult parts of life and really enjoying all aspects of life.
Absolutely. It's a quality session, a shadow session that you're going to get, and you're going to gain so much from it.
Yes. So thank you, Teresa, for joining me for this special episode.
Thank you.
Dr. Rob is probably sad that he couldn't be and give his insight, but that's okay. It's girl time.
Girl time.
But it's wonderful to work with Teresa. She's an amazing person. She's been with us for almost 2 years now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she's not a newbie. She knows what she's doing, and you'll be in great hands with her. And so thank you so much for joining us for Debi and Dr. Rob's show, this special episode, and we hope you live life in bigger ways and go for what you want. Take care.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Debi and Dr. Rob show. To find out more about us, you can visit us on our website at debiandrob.com. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. We'd love to see you on every show, and thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you remember to believe in your biggest dreams.